Welcome back to the program. I'm speaking to the president of the ACDP, Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, and Cheryllyn Dudley, an MP in Parliament for the African Christian Democratic Party. And we've been talking about the hate speech bill and also the CRL Commission investigations into the church. And Pastor Kenneth, you say you've met with the commissioners and their intentions have not been properly communicated into that document. It has caused some confusion and misunderstanding with church leaders because there's a lot of people jumping up and down. And I think it's good that what you're doing, meeting with them, inviting the chairperson to come and speak at your conference. It's going to clear up a lot of confusion. We're also going to get her into the studio so she can explain this situation. From your side, Cheryllyn, you've been watching all of this happen. Tell me what your perceptions are.
Well, of course, it's a process. And it's a democratic process, so people need to be involved, and this is why a concept document comes out initially. And what has been extremely important is that Christians have responded to the calls from the ACDP, from yourself, from other organizations, to actually put forward their concerns.
Yeah, very important.
Put the concerns.
Engage.
Yes. Now, of course, what is also very important is that we work together as a team. You doing what you do here, which is vitally important. We doing what we do in terms of the 23 years of experience that the ACDP has, knowing the process and how important it is to be credible or to have credibility with those people that we want to convince that there's a better way to actually do
Very
this
important.
thing. And that is what the ACDP would have been doing from the beginning and is doing and will continue to do, is speak to the relevant people at the relevant time without politicizing it, without playing games for the media, and actually not attacking people and assuming they want a bad result, but actually assuming that people want the best for South Africa and positioning ourselves so that we can work together with them to make that happen.
Now, Cheryllyn, the only way we can achieve those objectives is to give Christians out there, citizens, good, credible, accurate, honest information. That's the most important thing. Because we see now with the CRL Commission, the response that's come to them. There are people that emailed the chairperson, unfortunately and tragically, calling her a Satanist and a Jezebel and all these kind of things. She spoke to me and she said this. And because there was this hysteria and this, the government, and they're saying the government is going to create this Chinese-style churches and take control of all the churches and close down, and they want to tell you what you can preach and not preach. So people reacted to that. And of course, that is not what the CRL Commission is trying to do. They're trying to deal with this charlatans, with the petrol and the snakes and the doom, but they are making some mistakes. The best thing we can do as the church is engage with the CRL Commission.
And we have to remember they're not dealing with it just because they've suddenly decided that they're going to deal with the church. They're dealing with it because people, particularly people in the church, have called for government to do what it's supposed to do. Now, government, it's not their job to do anything about this. It is actually the job of the Chapter 9 institution that's put there for this purpose, to look into it. So they're simply doing their job at this stage. Now, of course, if an erroneous document like the one that's on the table at the moment does end up in Parliament, well, it will be our job to very strongly oppose that and give the arguments why. But we will do it from a position of having already built the credibility that we've built with those people who will be in a position to make the decision, because remember, it's a majority that makes the decision at the end of the day and not a minority. So that majority needs to be convinced, and they need to be convinced by people who they actually know are credible and are not there to create trouble and mischief.
Absolutely.
And we've had that experience on many occasions.
So Pastor Kenneth, one thing that we want to be clear on here, we don't want religion regulated in any way or form. We don't want the state encroaching into religion. We don't want the state encroaching in the media. We don't want the state encroaching in family. These are all governmental institutions, but they are autonomous. And so we complement each other. We are there as the church to support government in their governing, and government has certain rights and obligations to the church, but never to encroach, never to tell the church what it can and cannot do, because religious freedom is a fundamental freedom, and it props up our democracy. And once you begin to grapple with that, I mean, we're undermining our democracy, and not only religious freedom, but freedom of speech, freedom of expression, all the other freedoms are fundamental to our democracy. So we want to make clear that we don't support any kind of regulation, but there is ways of dealing with this issue that the CRL Commission is grappling with. But we must come together and talk about it and find a solution, because we're all horrified at what is happening with these charlatan pastors.
Yeah. You know, South Africans, particularly Christians, must admit that we have a problem. There are practices in the church that are un-Christian. There is abuse in the church that is totally unacceptable. Something has to be done about it. When there is a problem, attempts have to be made to solve the problem.
That's right.
So at times you have Christians who shout from a distance and criticize people who are trying to solve a problem. Yesterday when we spoke with the commissioners, we heard them saying, we are trying to solve a problem. And then they said, we have had people who have cursed us for trying to solve a problem. And actually the chairperson even said, I asked one of them, what is the alternative? And they had no alternative. So I want to appeal to Christians that when there is an issue to be dealt with, let us not be emotional. Let us not be irrational. Let us not swear and curse people who are trying to solve a problem. It is totally unacceptable for people to be fed snakes, to be given petrol to drink, to spray on with doom. Now, for this not to continue, somebody must do something about it, because we agree it is not right. So the CRL Commission is trying to address a genuine, serious problem. They do not want to wait until somebody dies in the church and then they start doing something, because we are being undermined, our faith is being undermined by people who are doing things that is unscriptural in the name of the Lord and in the name of Christianity.
Right.
So therefore, when you are not agreeing with what somebody is doing, even with what I'm saying right now, don't curse me, call me, let's sit down and talk, show me where I'm wrong. Yesterday we managed to sit down with the CRL commissioners, and we said to them, we do not agree with this and that and that. And then they asked us, what is your opinion? We told them our opinion, and they graciously agreed to review their document, because now they were facing and engaging with people who were trying to solve a problem. So my appeal to Christians is that when there is a problem, let us try to solve a problem without trying to kill one another. It was painful for me, it was sad, to hear the commissioner say, I am now using bodyguards because Christians have threatened to kill me.
Thank you for giving a charge to Christians out there. Thank you for the work you guys are doing. It is vitally important having you in Parliament, Pastor Kenneth, Cheryllyn, Dudley, and Steve Swart. We know that in the work we do with government and all our interactions, and then trying to be the bridge between government and the church, getting credible information out to Christians so that they can better engage government, so that we can influence and be salt and light. But you make that possible. The ACDP makes that possible for one reason and one reason only. You're a biblical party. You stand on the word of God. You don't compromise that. And we thank you for that. Others have to compromise. They have to toe the party line.
Sure.
But the ACDP never does that. Yeah. You're a small party. But you're a growing party, you obey and you honor God in Parliament, and God uses you in that place. He doesn't need a majority. God can turn things around with a minority, and He's done that in the past. So we thank you, we bless you for your work. To our viewers out there, just keep on watching the show. Keep on getting my newsletter. Go to the site and subscribe to the Watchman on the Wall newsletter. That's where we feed you with critical information that's happening in the nation, so that you can better engage government. And if we all get involved and do that, we're going to change this nation. And we believe that God has a plan and a purpose for South Africa. And it's a good purpose, but we have to make sure that we steer it in the right direction. So good night, and God bless you.